was silence. Now that I have you, I'm going to destroy you once and for all. Unless, of course, you review my game, Bleach the Shattered Blade.
The next review on the Universal Gamer is gonna be Bleach the Shattered Blade. I'll see you guys next time. What is up, everybody? I am the Universal Gamer, and due to a hollow threatening me with a zombie army, we are here to take a look at a game that really took me by surprise.
Oh, just review the game already!
Man, are you seriously still here? I'm reviewing the game, okay? I'm doing it right now. So why stay?
I'm here to make sure that you follow up and finish the game.
Fine, whatever, man. Today we're going to take a look at Bleach the Shattered Blade for the Wii, a truly overlooked fighter.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I haven't really seen much of Bleach. I mean, I've seen like the first 6 episodes and watched the Memories of Nobody movie, but that's it. And it's not like I think the show is terrible or anything. I mean, hell, I think Memories of Nobody was freaking awesome. I just never felt like I wanted to pick it up where I left off. So this review is going to come from somebody who knows next to nothing about the show. Just know that going in. Now, Bleach has been around for a very long time and has spanned hundreds of episodes and quite a few movies. So of course there had to be video games for the fans of the show. There's Soul Resurrection for the PS3, Blade Battlers on the PS2, Bleach Online, and of course there's Bleach the Shattered Blade for the Wii. The game caught my eye at my local gaming shop and was basically an impulse buy. I thought the cover looked really cool and it might be fun. And boy was I right. This game is intense. From the first fight to the last, I was having a great time slashing at my opponent, activating my Bankai, and basically sweating my ass off swinging the Wiimote like a madman. In fact, here's a clip of what I looked like playing it. Yeah, it's pretty dumb looking. But even though I look stupid playing the game, it is solid nonetheless. I mean, they put some real thought into this game, and it's not as simplistic as most people would suspect it to be. I mean, yeah, it's simple in a pick up and play kind of way, but once you get started experimenting with characters and messing around with a few fighters' specials, Bankais, and getting the hang of the clash and counter system, you start to realize there's a freshly fun game here.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get right into the story.
Well, it's about time.
Hey, I dealt with Brawly. I can deal with you too.
You were saying?
Damn it.
Now, Bleach actually handles its story in a very interesting way. You see, the story starts out pretty far in the Bleach universe, farther than I saw, and basically everybody is after something called the Sokyoku shards, for their own reasons, and it's played in an episodic format where you can play the story from different characters' perspectives, to find out why they want the shards, and you'll meet more characters as you play on. So at first it seems like an interesting concept, but quickly goes away once you find out all the outcomes from the story mode end up at the same outcome. Now, I know this game is a port of an arcade fighter, but come on. Other tournament fighters usually have some extra story modes, or hell, take some of the Gundam games. Once you beat the main story, you get an extra mission mode, or hell, take Dragon Ball Z Budokai. It had a story mode with awesome cutscenes, though short, it had extra fights after you beat it, what if levels, and an awesome extra story if you beat tournament mode. This one, you play each character's story, fight the same end boss to unlock the new guy, watch a still image with some dialogue over it, rinse, repeat. It feels pretty lazy. And again, I know this is just supposed to be an arcade port, but come on, what kind of excuse is that? I don't think any game should do this. If you're going to go through the trouble of adding a story mode, then do it right. Bleach the Shattered Blade is a 3-dimensional tournament fighter with a few interesting features to keep the simplistic combat feeling fresh. One of the more interesting features is the clash system that uses a rock, paper, scissors mechanic that can allow you to cancel out opponent attacks depending on which swing you're using. It goes like this: chop beats slash but loses the stab, slash beats stab but loses the chop, and stab beats chop but loses the slash. It's an interesting idea that's meant to reward the player for mixing up your types of slashes. This system is also kind of implemented on the regular gameplay, and that goes even further, giving you the ability to cancel out each other's attacks. If you hit with the same slash at the same time, both your hits won't go through, and it'll give you a chance to perform a follow-up to gain the upper hand. Now, one of the most important things this game had to get right is the Bankais each character has, and for the most part, they nailed it. Once your Bankai is active, you'll gain a massive power-up. for your critical or your special attacks, or both. Not only that, but also one of your 3 slashes will change to a Bankai attack specific to that character. However, some of these power-ups are better than others depending on the character. Some you can't be knocked down, or some negate or increase certain abilities, but you'll never know until you try them out for yourself. One final feature they added was the Clash mode. When both players hit each other with a critical attack at the same time, you enter this mode where 2 characters are swinging their blades at each other like crazy in a cinematic style, while a green bar appears at the bottom of the screen. You are then given an opportunity to use one of your 3 slashes and your opponent the same, to use the rock, paper, scissors mechanic. It kind of reminds me of a technique in Budokai 3.
So yeah, combat itself is very interesting. It does its best to try to reward you for experimenting with different combos, slashes, and experimenting with characters since each one is different from each other.
Interesting? I think you mean awesome. This is some innovative stuff here, Eugene, and I think you do not get that since you didn't watch the show.
How would watching the show change my opinion of what I think about the game? I mean, yeah, I would know more about the characters in the world that I'm playing in, but it wouldn't change the gameplay at all. That's just a poor argument.
Oh yeah? Well, how's this for a poor argument?
God, my eye! Okay. Let's move on to the controls. Oh god.
The controls are something to get used to. Since this game is on the Nintendo Wii, it had to have those innovative motion controls. And before you ask, no, you cannot just use the classic controller. You need a Wiimote and nunchuck to play. You use the nunchuck to move around the map and strafe your opponent, and by holding the C button while using this control stick you can run. You use your guard by holding the Z button, which I guarantee you will never use because guarding in the game is practically meaningless. You see, the enemies are very aggressive and can break through your guard no problem, so it's better to just try and strafe the enemy than to stand guarding. Unless of course your Bankai is activated, then your guard fares way better, almost invincible even. Now comes the actual combat system. You slash your opponent by swinging the Wiimote in certain directions. You can chop, slash, and stab, and you can also use special and critical attacks by holding either the A or B button, but the most important move you'll need to learn is how to build up your Bankai. You can gain energy just by getting hit or hitting your opponent, but it's the easiest way to do it is by swinging the nunchuck like crazy and build it that way. Then you can simply flick the nunchuck and your Bankai is active. Shattered Blade features 32 playable characters, including a character exclusive to the game in its original campaign mode. So you pretty much get a new bad guy with a terribly dubbed voice. Now all the characters you'd expect from the show are there, like Ichigo, Renji, Orihime, and so on. I think you get the picture. Now what's really interesting is that each character must be played in a different way in order to use their abilities. Like, you couldn't fight with Ichigo the same way you fight as Renji, so I'll use them as an example. Ichigo is all about up close and personal moves. His sword has a massive swing and all the special attacks deal an impressive amount of damage. But when his Bankai is active, it's all about the speed. He can shoot around his opponent with lightning speed, making him practically untouchable. But the trick here is that his sword does the same level of damage and his special nearly kills you. In short, you fucking own as Ichigo. Renji is all about distance. His sword can extend great lengths and can be used as a whip so he can keep opponents back. However, some of his moves need a bit of a wind-up to use, especially his special attacks. Renji has got to be my favorite character in the game, and it's mainly for his amazingly badass Bankai. When it activates, his Extendo sword turns into a humongous bone snake and whips around any defense. It's so cool that you will have a straight-up nerdgasm.
The characters are great. You give you a good amount to play with, and the controls are just solid. There's no other way to put it. So now that we've gotten both those out of the way, it's time to move on to the level design and music.
You know what? You keep saying that in every review you do. It's annoying.
Really? I mean, what do you want me to say?
Say it's a 10 out of 10.
If it deserves it, I will, okay?
You best tread lightly, Eugene, or I'll feed your balls to the hollow.
Wait a minute. I thought you had zombies.
Shut up!
The level design for this game is pretty standard, I'd say. All the levels are passable and some look really cool, but there's nothing about them I can really praise. I mean, it does seem like these are arenas that could be in the show, but since I'm not too familiar with the series, I can't say for certain. There are huge 3D environments that you can run around to gauge your distance or circle your enemy, but it doesn't have any cool hazards like other fighters. But I'll give this much to the stages. They look badass when your Bankai is active. The arena darkens and changes to some kind of abyss that seems to stretch on for an eternity. Also, because this is an anime, they added a cel-shaded look to everything to help it resemble the series more, which does help in defining its style, and I think it gives it a little extra something. In fact, there are a number of nice touches they added during fights, like when activating special moves, little panels showing the player's eyes will appear, or when you activate your Bankai, it goes into this whole cinematic for each character, which looks pretty impressive. And each one is unique for every single character, unlike other fighters where they just do a flash of light or they fly back off the screen and back on. One thing a tournament fighter always needs is a kick-ass soundtrack to help add a little more intensity to the fight, and Bleach nails it in this department. Every song I heard in this game got me pumped up to fight with my sword and swing it like a badass, slaying anyone in my path. It's just straight up rock all the way through, and I absolutely love it.
I honestly think that the music is the best thing about this game. It's energetic, upbeat, and it fits the fights perfectly. But all that good stuff aside, this game has a lot of problems that I failed to mention, so let's get into that next.
Cons? There are no cons in this game, Eugene. This is a masterpiece of tournament fighters. The closest you will ever get to pure nirvana.
Anyway,
one really odd flaw in the game is that it's always played in a 4x3 aspect that can never be changed. I really don't know why. It's not a serious gripe I have since I play games that have this all the time, but this was on a Wii, not a GameCube. Hell, even Eternal Darkness had a choice for a 16:9. Another issue is loading screens. There are way too many of these things in a single round of story mode, and it's not just how many of them there are, it's the length. Here, I'll time it for you. 19 seconds. And this happens at the end of every fight on a 7th generation console. Also, this might just be an issue with me, but this game really shouldn't be played in long sessions because you will wear out your wrist and work out a huge sweat going through one run of arcade or story mode. So it's not really meant to be played for a casual run. But the biggest problem with this game is the fact that winning a match comes down to shaking your Wiimote and activating your Bankai. It doesn't matter if you know all the moves, dodges, or special strikes. If your opponent activates their Bankai before you, then it's already over, especially during the final battle in arcade mode where it gets aggressively hard. I'd even say downright cheap. Bleach: The Shattered Blade was developed by Sega exclusively for the Wii and released in 2006, and, well, I don't know. I honestly couldn't find anything else about this game other than it was ported from an arcade tournament fighter, and it's exactly like its Japanese counterpart with no additions, changes, or anything really. Wikipedia is empty and other review sites I looked up gave me nothing I already didn't know, so sorry guys.
In the end, Bleach: The Shattered Blade is an awesome experience for the Wii. The controls, music, characters, it's all great. Though I can see why people did forget about this game. I mean, it pales in comparison to some of the other tournament fighters coming out at the time. I mean, if I was honestly able to compare it to any other tournament fighter, I'd say it's like a lesser version of Budokai 3. But it's still a fun game, and you should check it out. You'll work up a sweat, and you'll have a great time doing it. So, in the end, I'll give Bleach: The Shattered Blade a 6 out of 10. I'll see you guys next time. There, okay? I reviewed Bleach: The Shattered Blade, alright? Now, can you please leave my house and never come back?
Over? Oh, this is far from over, Eugene. There's an abundance of Bleach games that need to be reviewed. And you're gonna do them all.
No, 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 no! I refuse this. I will never be your laptop, and I will never review another goddamn Bleach game for as long as I live.
And what are you gonna do about it? Bitch.
And like I said, I'll see you guys next time on the Universal Gamer. Do something I want to do for once.